Welcome, everybody. Part three of our interview session with Chris the Glove Taylor. Glove, how are you doing this evening in Atlanta, but it's afternoon out on the West Coast in Cali, still where you're at? It's the worst traffic ever right now. Matter of fact, where you're at right now, ain't it?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, bro. I noticed that too. I went to the market to get some bread and stuff, and I was like, why is it so much traffic? It's not even 3 o'clock. I just figured it was school time. What's going on, I wonder?
There's always something going on in LA, though, Glove. That's the thing about LA. I remember when I was living out there, I'm going to tell you a story right quick. I'm going to tell you, like, when I realized I was somewhere different. I was just riding on the freeway one day, and I was riding on the freeway, and a car exploded, like, next to me. And, like, the people to the left of me were, like, smoking a bowl out of an apple, and, like, everybody thought that, like, the car exploding on the freeway was normal except for me. I was, like, freaking out. But then I was telling people, like, when I got to work, I was like, a fucking car just caught on fire on the 5. And people was like, yeah, there's like that be happening out here. I was like, what? It's like, what? I was like, whole cars explode? They're like, yeah.
They're like, yeah, it's Tuesday. It sounds like Tuesday.
Right. So, it's kind of funny. I actually kind of wanted to maybe work in reverse just momentarily in terms of time span and talk about something that's kind of been a hotbed subject according to hip hop, and particularly with me and my not so positive take on it. Kendrick Lamar won Best Rap Album last night at the Grammys, and I have been in the minority group of saying, quite frankly, that I'm not a fan of the album, and it's not that good. And as far as if we were to gauge it off of his standards and status quo, which I find to be pretty impeccable on a few levels, that it's actually not good at all if we're measuring it up against his standards. And I've also been saying to people inside my inner circle from these conversations that I've had with you the last couple of weeks, that talking to somebody like you that's so integral to our culture on so many levels has changed some of my thinking. You are an all-time great DJ and producer and collaborator. And so, some of your thoughts and opinions have made me get a little bit more flexible with some of my views. And so I want to know what you think about my take on Kendrick Lamar's last album and him winning Album of the Year, and just overall thoughts on it too, because I have some other thoughts about like why I don't care for the album, and it kind of connects obviously to somebody who you are infamous for working with. So I'd like to give you the floor now, and thank you for coming on once again.
Oh, man, first I want to say thank you for having me again, and thank you to Mike D, who I always forget to mention on the show. He's right there pushing all the buttons. Shout out to Baby Boy. Thank you again, you guys. And now in reference to the Kendrick Lamar album, I'll be honest with you, man. I'm a music maker, right? So that makes me not a music taker. Like, I'm not a music intaker as much. So I haven't really heard that album to really make a comparison, except for what was commercially available. Like, I didn't seek it out to. So, like, I'm a hip hop head, right? But I'm a hip hop head in the creation side. Like, I'm in there making shit. I don't really know what happens outside the studio. I know that sounds weird, but it helps me be more creative in the studio than to be mired in comparisons of other people's music. That's a person who is connoisseurs, like people who intake, like yourself, great wine, great music, the difference. I'm saying you've got experience, you got some little gray there, so, you have a palate. So I personally would trust your palate over my own because of the fact that being a DJ and breaking music, like, it ain't nothing that I heard that I would have played.
Well,
I guess
Glove. Well, Glove, that's my problem with the album. I'm like, well, quite frankly, Glove, I lived in Cali. It's like, well, where's the shit to ride to?
Yeah.
And when I've said this, like, people have looked at me like I'm crazy, and I'm like, and said things to me, and it's like, told me that I'm a hater, and I'm like, no, I lived out in Cali. It's like, I don't think the niggas that, like, in the essays and the homies that I know out in Cali is necessarily like out in the streets bumping this. Like, to go back to our Easy and Quick conversation the other day, I remember when it was Eazy-E's birthday, and 105 was like, okay, so we playing Easy all day today, So I know how they rep for their artists. So you telling me as somebody that's living in LA that you haven't really heard his stuff is kind of like making my point for me about it not being like the viable product that it is. Because Glove, I've literally been on our platform saying niggas out there ain't playing that shit like that. Because you would have heard about it. I know how Cali dudes are. Like y'all don't sit up there and like keep the product to yourselves. Y'all like, no, we got the best product on the market. Here, take some.
And then we tell people this, and then they go run and tell. Because when you say shh, they go tell.
And quite frankly, and I've never said this about one of his projects, I think his project needed some Dr. Dre for the first time, like actual production.
Hey man, you could always use some Dr. Dre, bro. I don't care what people say. That motherfucker's a beast. But on the other side of your point, so the one song I did hear people would point out to me was the song, I think it was the whole song was an argument or something like that. Where
it's the Cry Together record.
Right? So this is what I do with my life. I don't watch the news and I don't intake gossip. Like I never seen Real Husbands of Hip Hop, Real whatever the hip hop housewives and all that, from black or white. Never. Beverly Hills. That whole there's a chippiness that's there, right? And that's a spirit. So when you hear that so I walked in, we was back in the A couple of months ago, and my girlfriend was playing some a show that she not necessarily watches, but it was a gossip show, and it was all my soul sisters. You know what I'm saying? It was a melanin show, like no others, and that was so vexing hearing them. It sounded like all of them was yelling at me, like I was in trouble. You know how it is when you hear a dude getting snapped off, you be like, oh shit. It's a thing in you, like from your mama or something that make you do that. So I can't intake that. So when I heard that song, it vexed me and I stopped it because I'm like, that sounds like a bad, like I would never record that. So there's a magic to our thing. And when you, as I spoke last time, when you are ready to die and you say it in a record, you may set things
in motion. The manifestation.
Not even that. It's the reality of things. It's like they say the Matrix. It's really, bro, your life is as simple as what you believe is what's going to happen. If you believe in aliens, you're going to get picked up by one, bro. I guarantee it. Period. Seriously. And if you don't believe in aliens, you'll never see one in your entire life. And the dude, so this is how it works. The dude standing next to you believe in aliens, and you don't. And he's going, or vice versa. And you do, and I don't. And it's you and I. You're going, you don't see that ship? And I'm going, what ship? See what I mean? That's how that shit go. You see it, I don't. Stay with that so I don't know. Like, so, and another thing I learned, when we put out Above the Rim, I was in Texas when that dropped with Mike Dean. I was working with him on a project. CJ Mack actually had me go out there and work on his album, his first album. So when I went to the movies with CJ Mack and we was with Scarface and them, and every car was playing a different song from Murder Was the Case. I'm in Texas. Nobody knows that I'm working on that shit. And it's in the parking lot. Everybody's banging it. I have not come across that with this album. Is my point.
Well, that's usually how we know that you know that it is what it is. That's what I'm talking about. There's none of that with this album. And so, you know, not like the Grammys or any sort of barometer. I just wanted to gauge your thoughts on it with him just, you know, getting that accolade last night. Because according to some of your metrics, it's like, well, he's passing a lot of tests, Glove, because he's doing the numbers. But it's like that
part, but it's another part too, not just the number. It's a formula. Like for instance, how about this? Right. Sorry, you can continue.
No. Speak to the formula, because I believe like I'm about to be in concurrence with what you say.
Well, what I was going to say was, you notice this thing. Kendrick Lamar got 14 noms, and he done won a bunch. I think he won that night, last night, right?
He won 3.
Right, he won 3, right? But who you been hearing more about in the streets? Snoop. Who you been hearing more about in the news? Snoop. Who you hear about all the time? Snoop. Who's always, you in Atlanta and you hear more about Snoop. You see him on a commercial, you see him in a movie. He with Jamie Foxx, he over here, he on Jimmy Kimmel, but he didn't win a Grammy ever in life. So
it still hasn't. 20 nominations.
The Grammys don't represent the streets. That's what I'm trying to say.
Ooh, okay. Well, Well, with that being said, and we can kind of like backtrack into this. How do you feel about the modern crop of the West Coast artists, starting with recently, well, now not too recent, but starting with like Nip, Game, um, Schoolboy, J Rock, Ab Soul. How do you feel about the West, like musically? YG, all the guys. Like, how do you feel about this crop of guys, and how do you feel about the music that they put?
I think that they're all extremely talented, dude, and they all got these different followings. You got like All Money In, you got these cats. There's some cats in Inglewood. I can't think of the name of their thing, but they're like that. They're coming up now. They're like Marathon. I can't think of the name of their crew, but you got the People Under the Stairs from before. You got this cat in East LA. It's a group of East LA. I can't think of the name of them either. It's a Latino group. All of these things are what I see are the groups. Like for me, so I'm a Dom Kennedy guy. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to Nipsey Hussle. You know what I mean? I like Nip, but I don't like gang rap. I don't like anything that's going to incite you to your death, right? I used to be rebellious and rabble rouser for that, and we were reporters. But then I've learned that they kill people for what you say, and got to be careful. So now that being a rapper is a highly dangerous position. I vote against it. I'm not a rapper. I'm a teacher, like KRS-One. I'm like the 60-year-old cat that transcends. I don't do none of the things they do. I just talk about things. It's more of a lecturer, which is what you want to become as you get older. You want to walk around and get paid to talk. So that's what rappers kind of are, in a sense. They get paid to talk about, and they'll say what they believe in at their concerts and shit too. They slide that on you, which is fine. That's how you got Kanye West with his, they say, followers. This is who like his music. Some people like some of his music. Some people only like one song or two, like me. I don't understand the whole follower mentality. I don't get it at all. Like, I like your music, Michael Jackson, I'm going to the concert. I like your music, Casey Veggies, I'm going to the concert. I don't care. I'm going. I like you as a DJ, superstar DJ, little guy. That's who I like. So I'm for the culture inside of me, not the culture that people for the culture. Like, I saw that movie. I'm not going to give their name because I don't do promotion, but you know the one I'm talking about. Eddie Murphy's in it. And that dude kept saying for the culture. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Like, fuck your culture, bro. What do you mean? This is the culture. Me and you and the people that are commenting and the people who buy the music and the people who spray paint and the people who break dance and the people, unless it's a house. Now, this is something I love. When I started working and I move around in Web3, I'm all about cryptocurrencies and, all of this stuff. I'm trying to develop my own wallet. I'm deep in it, not just regular. I don't want an NFT. I want to sell everyone's NFT. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I want to talk to you about that next because I've been doing some current following on what you have going on and I want to speak to that. And I want to speak to a comment that you made when it comes to your, that I think is affecting your production style and some of the stuff I've been hearing, but I want you to finish.
Okay. So the thing about with the Web3 platform, it's all new and forward. You know what I'm saying? No one knows really how the things work. Like, what do you mean you got to get on Discord? Because we can attach the wallet to Discord and send you stuff directly without having to go through email or nothing. You know what I'm saying? You can just live here on Discord and get your stuff off. So when you get to explaining that mentality into the minds of these young, I'm trying to teach those things to the young music people as opposed to some of the things that they do naturally. It's not like I'd rather rap about what I'm producing and that as opposed to rapping about guns and violence, because violence beget violence, just like iron sharpen iron. Even the reporter, you ever notice the news is always bad? It just gets worse and worse. That's why I'm gonna do a good news network. It's only good news and it's just gonna get better and better because it's only gonna get more of what it is.
You're saying a lot of things that even transcend the hip hop space. Even when you talk about the things that you intake, I feel like in hip hop, sometimes we like, you know, proverbially like inhale a lot of things.
Oh,
And
yeah.
what we exhale and spit out, like not to put it too biblically, is like, you know, defiling to our own.
Mental regurgitation.
Yes. So, with that being said, you know, I wanted you to talk about it. Well, you know, you said something really strong when you said you really don't, you know, listen to other people's stuff, because I find your sound to be still surprisingly fresh. That's what I was about to say. Your stuff still sounds fresh. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't sound like you're stuck in any era or sound or time or like a point to prove. It just sounds like it's good.
It's
And so,
fun, man. Oh, yeah, I understand what you mean. The way I produce, I never forget Drake came to us when we were the Soul Kitchen. Now, I've been with him at Ruthless. Didn't produce any NWA stuff, but once we start doing the John Singleton and on into this Chronic Sound and stuff, I'm in the room. And then, you know, from there, from like 100 Miles and Running and forward, that's when I'm there. So, and then you go to the Aftermath all the way over to that stuff, and the sounds. Or so I lost track of. I started thinking about something else, man. What was the last statement you said? I forgot exactly what I was gonna say, bro.
no. You want to know it? Don't even worry about it, Glove. We can get back to it because I want you to actually talk about something that I actually missed that I meant to cover, which is above the rim.
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit. Actually, I wanted to talk a little bit before we got too much deep into like what you're doing currently. I wanted to talk about, well, now above the rim, but also like 2001. And want you to kind of like get deeper into like the whole King T story with Explosive and Hello.
Okay, so yeah, Above the Rim, just to brush over, I was involved with that, but my group, Paul Rock and Lonely, had done a song for that, and you know, it became a lot of money got involved, and then it became Deion Sanders was even around back then, working on music, and it started all getting kind of, you do this to get that type thing, and it was like, I'm not the guy you want to hire if you think that now you can control me, because I'll be like, nah. I said, I'm an artist, bro. I'll be a hermit and sit on a rock and tell people shit before I go and let you tell me what to do. That's not how this machine works. I'm the only one that can tell it what to do. When other people get to telling this guy what to do, it starts to be a turnoff. You know, they tell you what to do, bro. They don't ask you. And then when they do that, I go, no, I can't really do that. So that's the whole point with that. You know, on to the Aftermath experience, it was cool because when we started working on King T's album, I remember Mike Lynn was the one who was putting together the project as far as arranging the studios and stuff. And we went out to Mama's house a couple times. We went to Reno. On the first time we went, I did Explosive and Hello the same day because it was for King T. And, you know, sometimes you go in the room, just like when I did Phone Tap, it's nothing happening. It's like, what we gonna do? So I get on the drum machine and it's like, what we gonna do? It's like 2 o'clock. So you lighting up blunts and just drinking, just getting it going, right? What we gonna do? I'm over there like, I got an idea. So, you know, I'm like, man, I wanna sample this and use that and, you know, do this. Okay, so this is a trip. With the Explosive thing, a lot of people don't know. Like, that same day, I did this track. You hear that? Who's that?
I couldn't hear it all, huh?
That's Mobb Deep. Is that Survival of the Strong? We need the strong survive. We get to the day that we die. So I played all that shit live. And when I did that, because I played the sample, I heard the piano part and I played it over. And I played the other part. And them strings, all that crazy shit that's in there, it's in the sample. I just played it all. And that's how I did Explosive the same way. I was on this Mobb Deep thing. So I wanted to slow. They're the ones who had sampled Bumpy's Lamin'. And it was fast. I wanted to slow it down. I said, we need to do this shit half speed. This was me knocking off Mobb Deep when I did Explosive. I was like, yo, take the same sample but do it like this and play it slow, but we gonna play it live. I'm gonna loop it, but we need to play the guitar and play the bass. All them other parts we don't need. I do the beat, and the beat wasn't like I said, it wasn't a pattern. It was a break beat, but a half a bar. It wasn't the whole break.
Yeah. Okay.
I used to hold that, whatever the dude's name is, somebody in one of your comments said his name is, I don't know the name of them shits, bro. I was not a collector. We was grabbing records, making beats, man. Them shits didn't need to be paid for. We was like, what? So shout out to whoever that was. But I took that. That's why it sounds like that. It's not just drums. Then I put a kick that go, boom, only on the one, boom. And then the rest of them kicks is in the loop, EQ. And then, so that was my minimalist approach. Like, bro, it's only like, that music is like 8 tracks, maybe 10, including all the keyboard parts. Like, it's the kick, the loop, the stick is in the loop. So that's 2 tracks.
Mm-hmm. And
then the bass line, then I had the guitar and the other bass. I got a blow bass and that bass. And then that little part I play, the bells and the ding, them 2 parts, I played those. And so all of that shit ain't even 10 tracks.
Wow. And have you ever met Havoc from Mobb Deep and told him this?
No. I never met any of those guys, but I know Nas, and I met him and AZ, and we used to chop it up, but this was before.
This is before you did that, right?
Yeah, right around that time I had done it. It was nothing at the time. I had done it already, but it wasn't explosive. It wasn't 2001.
Right. Well, Glove, can you, were you around for the Rakim Oh My God experiment that did not, ever see the light of day? Both of us.
Or Busta Rhymes or Joel Ortiz, none of that, bro. Or this 50, none of that. I left right. I was, me and Explosive, I left around that time because it wasn't coming off right. It was like, that's, we had some kind of difference going on there, which is still evident in the credits. So, but that's cool. It's just like I had to leave. That was there. Now I have no, I just got to whatever is whatever. You know what I mean? It's life now.
Yeah. And you and Dre are cooling in a good place, right?
Man, we in a great place, and I'm cool. I don't need no kind of, what's that shit outside my gossip, or I love out, love in, bro. I'm not even tripping.
Well, that's cool, because kind of some of the questions I wanted to ask you today is like, when's the last time that you worked with Dre, and would you be open to working with him on Kendrick's next project? Because after talking to you and knowing Dre's resume and how you all work together, quite frankly, I think what his project was missing was y'all. I'm being straight up. He needs some. He need. It's like I was telling people. Like for me, when you fail, you're supposed to go back home.
Yeah, you gotta go get some cornbread from your mama, and your brother
gotta
fight with your brother behind the garage and shit.
Yeah, and so when I was telling people, I was like telling people on the show, I was like, no, he need to like go back to Compton and like ride through Compton and like take it in again.
Whatever he did to make them hits, you should automatically go back and do that. So like that's how we are. We didn't. Well, when I was there, whatever we did, as soon as we get there, I'm getting the same soda, the whole room. When I'm there, it's gonna be the same. Like, nah, man, we was smoking this kind of weed. We wasn't smoking that because I know what that was, and I knew that part of it. Like, I didn't know why I knew it, but it's like, nah, man, we need them crackers. We don't need the ones. It don't look right in the room. It's like feng shui is what it is, but with everything. Like that shit went or people. But we got to get so and so and them up in here because every time they up in here, you right, Glove, you right. Call them up, get some weed, and I'm more of that. I'm a DJ, so I'm gonna make it a party.
Yeah, you want to get the party started and make it a whole
party music. We need a fucking party, Dre. We can't just sit here, me, you, and all these dicks in here, make a party. Get some chicks in here, man. This ain't no party.
Right.
This is a party. We don't do that. Glove don't do that.
So you're
really. My girlfriend is all the time. I became a DJ to meet girls.
You sound like my pops. My pops got into a lot of things to meet girls too. Glove, that's fascinating because you're really talking about the production side of things that really kind of looks. There's this there's this stigma on a rapper and his camp that's not a positive one. But what you're kind of saying is it's like, shit, that's what makes the music good, is when you have the camp and the women and you know, the libations and, you know, the narcotics and all of these things are helping to create an environment that's conducive to, you know, I mean, and quite frankly, if this is the formula is fucking one pretty fucking big for you guys.
Yeah, it's the formula that we use for that type of thing. Like, that music requires those elements: cannabis, alcohol, male, female, libations in some form going on in the system. Somewhere within the making of the beat, all the way to the mix, then people got to inject that spirit into the record. Just like I told you, be careful what you intake, because there's spirits there. So you just say no, turn the shit off. But, you know, the whole thing with that is a lot of people don't know that they don't do it on purpose because they don't know of it. It just happens. Like, that's how it was at first. Then I started to notice that certain music sound one way when it was like one way, and the others sounded another. Like, Nigga with a Gun sound like this, but Let Me Ride sound like that. It's like, what's the difference? One make you one way and one make you another way, because when you made it, it was different in the room, period. I keep telling people this: when if you do an experiment, I could be like you roll a joint and smoke it by yourself, and then I come over. When I get there, that weed's gonna be different, the joint's gonna be different, the whole thing. You're gonna do the exact same thing, but because I'm there, I got input. Whether I'm talking to you and distract you, or whether I'm sitting there and just my spirit and presence there, it puts into the water that's in the room. And so now it becomes our water. It's not just yours. So every experiment is going to be different, the different people that look at it. I don't care what it is. It's evident in children. Like, you know, when two people have kids, they never have the same kid. They keep having different kids. But the same, and they can have the same sex on the same night at the same moment in the same way, and the kid going to be different.
Yeah. No, that valid point. So you're saying, like, the creation and the creative process and the people who are in the room, it's like making a new baby every time.
Every time.
Yeah, so even if it's the same people in the room.
Yeah, so if you want to get pregnant, remember what you did to get pregnant. So do those things. What kind of baby it's going to be, you don't know, but you know that you're going to get pregnant. In other words, you're going to have a hit. You don't know what kind. Some is G-Thing. Some is Murder Was the Case. They're different. You know, one you dance to, one you just rock in your car. You know, Murder Is the Case sold like 3 million copies. And I was wrong about that statement. I forgot that song was on there. I want to apologize to the world.
No. You're all good. Like, stuff happens. Nobody's perfect. You've done a lot. So tell me, once you're leaving Aftermath, what you got into, because you do have a long production credit line, and it does not all involve Dr. Dre and Aftermath and Death Row and Ruthless. So speak to this time in your life and tell us who you are as a producer and a creator and a DJ outside of the affiliations to the aforementioned.
When I go away from my brothers like Ice Cube and I'm solo, yeah, man, so some people, you know, they knew what my contributions were, kind of, so I could get deals here and there. Actually, the funny thing is, when I left Aftermath, I went and hooked up with this young kid I thought was dope. Some of the other guys up there had produced with. I was like, this dude is dope. He's down with some of my people. I'm gonna fuck with him. And that's Exhibit. So I went and did 2 songs. I did a deal with Exhibit for 2 songs. I ended up giving him a track he bought, which is called Focus, that I produced. And then I actually recorded and produced all the vocals to Pussy Pop and mixed that. Most people don't know that. My name ain't on. So, but like, that's another thing, being in the room for Pussy Pop. That's like the song everybody know on there. That's the shit I bring to the table. It ain't because it's Method Man and Exhibit. It's because we were all together and this thing happened. Funny story, too. Me and Exhibit working on Focus. You know, this is my studio time. I'm the producer. He's the artist. So he's like, oh, if we go pick up Method Man from the airport, can we do these vocals? Like, you know, he trying to get this done, right? He ain't really got, you know, he done broke me off a gang of money, so he trying to get it done. So I'm like, yeah, man, let's go get him. So we hop in my Range Rover, go pick this dude up. I'm smoking these nasty ass tobacco blunts with these fools. I get all the way up to, he's staying at the Oakwood Gardens, you know, the one over here. It's a little celebrity, like right there off of Barham, where all of the people stay when they come in Burbank. So I get out the car, man, throw up all over my brand new Air Force One spaghetti. So it's like red sneakers. I got meth over here laughing. And then so I smoke with meth and Exhibit. That's another one of my circles in the car. But them dudes was hitting them L's. That's what they was calling them back then. Anyway, we get there, we do that. So my point being, it was Exhibit. Then I worked with a group called Militia, which, rest in peace, Emmanuel Dean had produced on Who Am I, What's My Name with me. And me and him did that with Dre. He also did this group Militia. They had a song called Burn he had produced. So they had me come and remix Burn and do a few things. And I produced a few more songs for the group for their album, Militia. And I met a guy named Lord G. And Lord G was one of the dopest rappers. I had known him from Death Row, actually, because he was supposed to be on Above the Rim. That's a whole nother story. But so Lord G and I, his manager was named Vince Berry. That's my homeboy, Art. So Vince came to me and said, let's put this record out independent. He was signed to Red Ant. He had got some money. I had some money from this thing over here. So we put this album with Lord G and we put it out. We released it, and then, so back then you make a record and you ship it, you pay for it. So then you get orders. So we got like 20,000 pre-orders back as soon as we shipped it, right? That's a hot record, right? But you got to pay $20,000 to make them. And I was like, bro, we shot our wad, sending them out. You got to get a loan or a credit card so we can press up this vinyl, so we can get this $40,000 or whatever it was. It froze up right there. You know, whenever it's liquidity that happens, that's when the log jam comes. So, and that's why I liked working with Dr. Dre, because we had unlimited budget. So I was free to do anything. If I came up with I used to come up with the most cockamamie shit just to see if we could get it. I never told anybody that.
No, I mean, you push the limits when you have, like, you know, the, like, frankly, the financial freedom to. I mean, in this country, in a lot of ways, functions in that manner. And off of that premise.
Yeah, it was a think tank, man, and I was really pushing it. Like, so that's why I told you I read some article about a man who said that all of the whack songs Dre did, it was when I was a part of them, and I brought that. And I was like, he said I came in at Aftermath, right? And I was laughing like, bro, I was at Ruthless. You think I just showed up when the stuff got boring? Nah, bro. G-Thing, Stranded on Death Row, we mixed this record, Dre Day. Come on, man, 187. Like, what? I was on 187, dude. I'm just not credited on there as all.
Well, you know, that's actually one of the reasons that I wanted to talk to you, Glove. When I actually, like, I mean, I know you from Phone Tap and being a big Phone Tap fan. And when I did a dig on you last year, I was like, hold on. I was like, this ain't like no 15 or 30-minute interview. This guy's been around long before Phone Tap. And so I was actually one of those guys. I just like to do my research and like to do my due diligence first. And when I started doing my due diligence, I'm like, well, quite frankly, when we don't document, like in our culture, you know, speaking of culture, in our culture, when we do not document,
it didn't happen.
People like you, well, then you didn't happen, and then it didn't happen like this, and it leaves the doors and the gateways more open for those outside this culture to do what, Glove? Come and take it from us.
They get it, take the credit, and get all the money too, bro. They do it every time.
Right. And so, like, you know, really, and not to be funny, and it's like, and this is no knock to Dre whatsoever, but if interviews like this don't happen, it's going to go down like, well, Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre. And nobody else is going to get, you know, because there are so many stories Mike B and I, like, kind of like have uncovered from people talking to us, like behind the scenes and on camera, and like just through different avenues of knowing people and knowing things that we weren't privy to. Because like you said, we haven't been in the room and on the other side of the lens, and you start looking at some things like, you know, Mike kind of uncovered this gentleman who actually is the originator of hip hop in a lot of ways, but he's really from North Carolina. And from the information Mike and I have been getting, it seems like the New Yorkers kind of froze him out and tried to make it seem like the New Yorkers started it when really was a guy from North Carolina. You know?
Big name Chris.
What's his name? DJ Disco. Mike, what's his name? Mike might need to. I think Mike might take a break.
But there's people like that. Like I created Grandmaster Flowers, man. Everybody don't know, you know, Flowers, bro. He DJ'd. He was James. He DJ'd for. He opened for James Brown in 1969, DJing.
Yeah.
That's hip hop, bro. I don't care. That's not disco. That's hip hop. Now he wasn't rapping or nothing, but
yeah, Disco King Mario.
Okay, I believe that, bro. I mean, I have no reason not to. There's always a person that's there that you never heard of, like the guy who got the deal for Michelangelo's first painting. You don't know who that dude is. You never know, but he probably was known during his day as the guy who did that. But he just faded off because he didn't have no documentary and memorials and statues and shit.
Okay.
That's how it goes, bro. But you're right. You have to speak. And so I understand humility. I understand that. Okay, so I'm humble. God inside me is not humble. So when God speaks, I just stand back and let him do that talking. And you can tell it never comes from a place of hubris when that happens. But the thing is, I believe that somebody got to tell the story. And if ain't nobody telling the story, I'm going to sit my kids down and be like, let me tell you what daddy did. Because I'm going to tell it. Like everybody says, oh, you know, someone else should tell that story. That's true, but shit, bro. If I hadn't said anything, you would have never dug it up yourself. You know what I mean?
These are facts. If you wouldn't have said anything, I wouldn't have had nothing to dig on. You know? Because a lot of the credits aren't there, but your imprints and like your voice is, and so like I've had to go off of that. And it's funny, I don't know if you've noticed this, your Wikipedia has been changing the last couple of years since like you've been speaking more.
It need to change. There's some things there that say that I claim, which is cool. But I want to say this though. And I keep saying this. I've always said this. I love all my time working with Dre. None of that shit was bad. You know what I mean? So, but this part, last night he said thank you to all the people who collaborated with me over the years. This award is for you guys. And I think that's a big step. For my boy K-Mac on the beat told me that. I didn't even see it, but I think that's a wonderful thing for him to have done. You know what I'm saying? Because for even a person like that to let others know what they even do. Like, you don't got the president saying, you know, he got 17 advisors you ain't never heard of. Thank you to my group of think tank. You know what I mean? You just leave it, and he just great. So I appreciate that because I know I'm in that mix. So thank you, Dr. Dre.
Well, no, you actually, I love actually the president comparison because people do not in our country sometimes realize that being the president of this country is actually about what you do. It's about the staff that you choose and how you delegate to them. That's actually how you're going to get remembered as a president. And so like those people are super important. So like, you know, if he's the president and, you know, a lot of the delegation, you know, has been successful because they've produced like, you know, like yourself. So, you know, I mean, he's created like a great cabinet for him to get, you know, receive that prestigious honor, you know. And it's like I was saying before, you appear to be the first and the most important member of that cabinet.
And the most unknown. So I got a cool story I wrote about it, man. This is so funny. So I read a book. I was a DJ for the Far Side in like 2002 or 3. We went on the road and did some shows, right?
Okay.
And my boy Trey from Phoenix, from Farside, he gave me a book called Alice in Quantum Land. And that's when I first discovered quantum physics and stuff. Now, I went to school for aeronautical engineering, but I didn't do the quantum physics and theoretical. I just did real physics, well, what we call real physics, present. So as I got into theoretical, I learned about string theory, which is there's multiple universes like on a guitar. And that's where gravity comes from. There's a universe vibrating. You can't quantify gravity with a mathematical equation because it's an offshoot from somewhere else. People go, blah, 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 don't believe it. Then the quantum computer comes out, which actually computes in, saying all that to say that growth you see is because of another reality. So I wrote a comic about my other reality where, so music is a political thing now. All of the people in this reality, it's not wealth that got you power. It's the ability to control people through music in my comic, right? So certain people have this gift. Like, for instance, you can go to a club and say, put your hands in the air. You're going to go like this. So this kind of control got to be understood as it was more powerful than they thought. So instead of the money people getting over, Beethoven was the first, big leader. And, it was all musical related people throughout history. For instance, the first black president in my story is Quincy Jones, as opposed to Barack Obama. You see what I mean? With Ice-T as the vice president because he needed the young vote, the hip hop vote. So this is my story. In this story, I am a CIA operative in the music division. And I got recruited as a DJ in high school, and right outside of high school, college, my first year, to go and work with Dr. Dre. They wanted me to go work with him to make sure that everything he did, I'm his huckleberry. I make sure his shit is tight no matter what. But the way I wrote the story is that I was a government plant to do that. Because what happens is, now that I'm older, I'm a training officer for this CIA offshoot. And Dr. Dre has now become president of the United States. So when he becomes president, all of the stuff he's done becomes state secrets. And so now Ice-T is his vice president. He's back again. And Ice-T want to talk to me. And so I'm on the run. I took Enemy of the State and redid it through a music vision. So that's my comic. Sorry about that.
No, that's deep and that's dope.
Crazy, right? Because I can say anything I want in an alternate reality and nobody can contest it, even in court.
The things that you can do with some of this stuff artificially. Like, I mean, even in the cartoon world, in the comic book world, like you're speaking to, the creative license is, how about this? You can't get canceled over there. As in, like, over here, get canceled tomorrow. I mean, not being funny, Glove. I come up on here and I joke and I'll be like, man, YouTube ain't gonna give us no money if I just say Kyrie. So
you'll be done. You'll be unmonetized. I've seen that, bro. They unmonetize stuff. Like, hey, so that's why, like, these platforms I'm using, and in real life too, I'm gonna start doing panels and things like that in person. Like when I come to ATL, you're gonna help me put together some events. I don't care if it's 20 people or 200, just because these platforms, we're giving them too much power, bro. Like, you can't do nothing without YouTube. But like, yo, we gotta change that shit, bro. We screwed ourselves being clever.
Well, Glove, I'm actually right there with you because, I mean, Mike knows this behind the scenes. My main objective actually this year is to be out in the streets in Atlanta more and online less, quite frankly, because it's not where it's at for our culture necessarily. Like, we've created something here that I think is a great piece. Shout out to Mike for being the owner and the creator of this. I've been on board now for going into my 6th year now. We've been able to do some amazing things. Yeah, Glove, I started as a staffer. I've been able to do some amazing things. But I've been saying this behind the scenes. It's like, well, sometimes I don't feel right touching all these people online, and I'm not touching people like at home in my own street sometimes. And it just don't sit right with me because it's not a culture thing. So whatever you want to do, like panel-wise in Atlanta, it's like, let me know. We'll put it together. We'll make it work. I mean, it's happening for me, so.
Oh, yeah. Starting with a listening party for my album. We're going to find a nice little, I'm a member of the Red Door, I told you, so the Red Phone Booth. They'll let me do a bit there in that back room, and I can just sing a few songs, have about 20, 30 people at that exclusive spot. It's like, that's the kind of thing. So with my cannabis brand, same thing, sweets, I sell to bosses. Like, so we don't promote to the public. We promote to the buyers. You understand? So public gets sold to. Whatever's in the store is what you're going to get. You don't got no choice. So I go to the buyers. They love it. And the buyers are the bosses. They usually smoke my product. So I've always done that. Like when I was trapping, I'd be in there and the bosses come through for packs and whatnot, and they buying my shit for $50. It wasn't the dudes outside in the cars waiting, that's not, you can't afford this. And so that's how I do my music the same way. We do it, we influence the influencers.
Yeah, you have, I'm glad you're speaking in that manner because it's like, you pitch your shit like it's high class shit because it is.
Thank you.
No, I like that. Like, you know who you are, you know what you've done, you know what it's worth. You've kind of set your own market and your own price point. So kind of talk to me about that. Talk to me about this project that you're about to do. I guess a release for like just tell me all of that like right now because you're doing a few different things, Glove. Now we're following each other on Instagram. I mean, you go live more than a little bit, fam.
I go live, baby, because so I have an album called Red Shirt Freshman, right? And you know, I decided to rap after I turned 60. I just said, you know, I don't know. I was working with my boy Tony Hasboon and Basico and Big Crook out from a group called Lo Correcto. They out of the Dominican Republic. And they was like, yo, Glove. Tony called me Mr. Glove. Yo, Mr. Glove, you need to rap, bro. Me and you. We're not rappers. We getting it. He said, we're not rapping. We getting it. I said, okay, I'm with that because I don't want to be, that's their thing. They do that. But I can talk. And I'm more of a Barry White, Isaac Hayes dude. Like my dad, I felt like he was so cool when he would listen to Isaac Hayes. And I'm like, who's that artist today that somebody's dad would listen to that they was cool in their age? I said, I'm going to be that. I want to be the dude that everybody's dad, cool dad listens to. And they grow up hearing that shit. And like this dude talking some, you know, I got a song called The Rules, you know. It talks about being a good dude, basically, but it's, you know, step one, movement, never sweat, you know, stay cool, you know. It's a very knowledgeable thing. And so what I'm doing is I have a thing called the Forever album. My album is living. So every song that I make, I add to this album. So once you purchase it, I may do 25 more songs. They're going to be added to this album. You'll get an email. I might even send out an email, a blast on my social media. Anybody wanting the music today, holders only. You know what I'm saying? Whoever I miss. And then all the 200 people who bought it or whatever, boom, they get the new music added to their thing. They can just download it, bow. And I will do that until I can no longer make music. Because I look at my guys like Dre did 2 albums. He got like 44 songs or so. So if you add some of the other stuff he did, other hits on other people, he got like 70 songs. So, you know, what would you pay for 70 of those songs? You know what I mean? At the end of the day. And they gain value because you're the collector of them, and so they're art, bro. Like, you got friends that come over, you play music for them. It's going to be your collection. And so you get known for people. There's value there. We just missing it. We need to go into, bro. Forget about we only get it when we show up to perform. Nah, when you play my record, bro, it's a grip, period. And you like it like, man, are you kidding? Because this is the point about once you get with me with this Forever record, you have access to the artists. And all the people who are holders, they get into all the shows, no cost.
Right.
It's like an NFT that'll come out with it. You show that at any location, and there's a section already set up for my holders. They always get into the concert. They shouldn't. When you buy an album, why should you have to pay for the fucking concert, bro? You should be able to go see the artists that you support and other people who don't know about them that can eat a dick and buy an expensive-ass ticket and come.
Well, you know, I mean, I think we both know the reason for that, though, Glove. That's because, well, there's politics, business, and middlemen involved. And really what you've done is you've cut out the middleman. You've modernized the product, and you've streamlined it straight to your fan base. And so that's part of what enables you to do that. And I love all these things. That's why I kind of wanted you to speak on it, because I've been following you now currently, and I find some of the takes and some of the things you be doing, quite frankly, to be very, very innovative for anybody's age before a man that's been doing this since 1983 on some sort of level. The fact that you're like being this avant-garde, I find to be like extremely like inspiring. And forward thinking and progressive, you know?
Yeah, man, I got people around me. I got these crazy ideas, and they were like, go, man. My people around me, my girl, my 2 homies, and my mom, and my sisters and brothers, and my daughters. Dude, they like, go, daddy. Man, my daughter's 17, bro, and she told me one time I'm driving, I'm playing a song I got called Like That. I'm riding around, it's turned down really low, because I always listen to my music, but I had it low because I was taking her to school. And she just kind of says, I love this song. And I was like, what song? I'm looking out the window. She turns the radio up, and it's my song. And she's 17. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo, that just shook me to the core. Like, this stuff is good that we got over here. We just gotta, and this is another thing, man. I refuse now to believe that it does not take money to move a thing, bro. It takes people and dedication. I can sell this record without spending any money on promotion. All I got to do is get up, spend the money on movement, get up, move myself, go to the show, go meet the people, go to the record store. And this whole direct-to-consumer model is from iTunes. Remember that iTunes came about after they took Napster? Notice one thing that happened when iTunes...
LimeWire and all those other platforms.
They took all of them. LimeWire and all of it came from Napster's whole... They bought the concept of Napster. LimeWire and them were still illegal, but they had Napster's catalog and everything, right, and all the access. And then all the record stores closed in real life.
Yep. Media Play, Sam Goody, Warehouse Music,
bro,
Virgin Records.
Never even knew what it is. You got these vinyl collectors that can go now to these one store in Chicago, 2 in LA, downstairs records in New York. Still.
There's like 3 in Atlanta. There's like 3 in Atlanta.
The record stores all closed. So when the record stores closed, the one-stops closed. All of the people who drove the trucks to take the records to the one-stops closed. All of the people who worked at the stores in the one-stops closed. Like, that was the whole middle part of the industry. The record industry became a record business, bro. Direct to consumer when iTunes took over. And everybody gets their music from there or Spotify. It's dumb. You got to get my music from me. I'm not letting it. If I see my music over there, if it's not like Coinga Boulevard is on Spotify and that's all they getting, bro. And I'm going to end up splitting that with Rick James. So that's all cool.
No, say less.
Yeah, direct to consumer gets you access, which is what most people kind of desire when they support someone anyway. They want to know you're doing good or be able to come see you, have a private party for your holders. Like, imagine if, okay, so you see all this stuff about Beyonce's tickets? What if she made an announcement and said, everybody who bought my album gets it at this price, like $20, some regular price, instead of, because all them people is hype. The people who bought the album ain't these people running these ticket prices up. What she sold, if she sold 5 million people, it's 250 million people in America that's going to go, that are of age and able to go see her. You know what I'm saying? So if you just gave your people who bought the album access, dude, you start up. I bet you the concerts, after the people hear me say this, they going to say the same thing. Like, bro, especially when records, like my record costing $60 and up. It's 60 today. When I add these 3 songs, it's going up to 100. And then when I start promoting it, it's going to be 200. And I'm going to see people go, $200, and I'm going to laugh because I'm going to be on Jimmy Fallon. And I'm going to be on all these other shows and your show and in real life and at the Staples talking to people. I'm going to get on somebody's tour in front of 20,000 people and say, everybody hold up your phone and buy my record right now.
Or on Unsung like you just were last week.
10,000 people going to buy it at the show. I'm
right.
Gonna sell 1 million copies myself. At whatever price. They may go up to $1,000, bro. I'm selling them. Bro, I'm not playing. Because I'll give you a reason, too. Like, when it's that price, I'm at Tomorrowland and Coachella. And you know what I'm saying? And I'm playing 70s music when I'm DJing and 80s. 70s and 80s and my stuff. I just heard the perfect... Shout out to Nasty Ness and Night Meat and Grand Mixer GMS. They played my record on the radio, terrestrial radio, for the first time on Sunday. And to hear that go up, and he played it he plays an oldie show. So you got these jamming people listening to that. You know what I mean? It's like Art Laboe or something here in LA. So they listening, but he can play new music that's either from a person that's older or reminiscent of that. And so he drops in my new song, and they get calls and requests now. It's quite the happy feeling to see people actually move for you. You know, you pay people for time and time spent, but you don't got to have a bag of money to go hand a radio station to get your shit played. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I mean, Glove, Mike and I have talked about this. Part of why I stepped out of the game as an artist wasn't because I wasn't good enough. It's because I didn't want to play some of the games I had to play. It's like, well, I had to pay this stripper in Atlanta that was well known this, even though I knew her. And then I had to pay this DJ I knew that was on the radio this, even though I had helped give him his buzz because I used to bartend the events that he got his buzz at. Like the events that you're talking about that you used to DJ, I used to be the one that was responsible for bringing the crowd. People used to come to my bar to see me. And the same guy that used to do the stuff that ended up being on radio, I'm asking him to play my stuff. And he's like, well, Coop, I don't really play unsigned and unknown artists, and I'm thinking like,
bro, they
So,
forget about it, don't they?
I mean, like, this is like as soon as he made it to radio, like, this is why we're still doing the events together.
So, you was thinking we just gave up.
Yeah, so no, I understand what you're saying, and that makes me understand too why you're charging $60 for your shit today. Because I actually went and looked at your shit today. I was like, Blood wants $60 for the pack.
And I'm gonna get it too. And then, so what I'm gonna start doing though is I do giveaways like, hey, who wants some of this today? Give me an email and I shoot you the song. Like I'm gonna start giving away songs. Like I'm giving you can download the MP3 and own it. You know what I'm saying? You got it. Don't try to post them because I got copyright protection. They'll all get taken down. That's the cool part. So when I'm ready to, but this is the thing with that kind of movement, this is to me is the streets. If I give some people some of the songs, they may want to buy the thing and say, man, I'll buy it. People buy a t-shirt at a concert for $60 and throw it in a drawer. They don't even wear it. I got a Travis Scott t-shirt. I put it in a drawer, never wore it. Then he did the Astro World. I was like, thank God I never wore it. You know what I mean? The thing happened and everybody got hurt. And I had never been in a picture with a Travis Scott shirt. It was cool.
Right.
Like, but you buy those things because you support the artist, not because you want the shirt. You know what I mean? And so,
no, I feel you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
People support us. They support you. They support me. You got 10,000 subscribers, you and Mike. So we just got to work the people that we have. They're down with us. If they're really down, they'll step up. Like, we're going to be over here, or we need you to do this, or like I'm giving away this right here on my page. It's an SSL2 Plus. It's actually got I forgot. It's the thing about this. It's got 2 headphones on it. The most important, like, so I can have the rapper and you both have headphones and work. That's But anyway, those things. That's my SSL2 Plus. I never used it, but I want to do these things because I know people are out here that would cherish things like that. So if they're around.
I mean, and just like, that'd be cool for somebody who's just a knower and a lover of music to be like, hey, I got this SL from the glove, right? Used to work with Dr. Dre. Did phone tap, did explosive.
You know what I mean? You say, oh, let me tell you.
Right, and that's how tradition and stuff gets passed on traditionally too. Because even the stuff that you're telling me, like, you've said so many things they're gonna say with me, but some of the strongest stuff you said was the first stuff about the early days. You're like, oh, those words, we came up with those words to explain what we were doing. Because people didn't understand.
They couldn't understand what they just heard.
No, and I can see that, and also too, I love when people try to push the culture forward musically, but I do believe there's like a fundamental base that you work off of, like I do, and I'm like you. It's like, well, if the streets don't like your shit, that's it. Because where else are you gonna go when the radio stops playing you, or when you get older, or when the game slows down? Or when relationships get frayed, or when you step away, or when life happens. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, I do. They did.
I'm about to say, I know you do.
They did an introspective on the Grammy voters, and they showed a woman who was a politician or something. Maybe she was. The people are. So what they do is, it's not like the Academy is all people who do music or art. It's just, I think they try to have regular people who are consumers or music listeners. That's how you end up with Bonnie Raitt as opposed to what the fuck, you know what I'm saying? And then what they do is, normally they don't even really listen to music. They listen to what is consideration. So they only can pick from what's being considered. They can't pick a hot record over here and write it down. You got to be in consideration. See, so it's a whole game. It ain't even the voters. It's who picks what to vote on. That's
it's who considers the considerations.
Like the Republican and the Democrat. Like, who said them two? Like,
right.
Y'all don't see this mama. Okay, pick this guy. Okay, well, that group over there, which you got your hand behind them, you puppeteering them. They both the same group. It's called oppression. But, it's just to keep us. I mean, if you got a country, you got to keep the people happy and in place. I don't want to say in line, but doing what they need to be doing and to make them happy as people, not robbing and killing and stealing each other and none of that. You need order, which people can be orderly. Like, the proof in how good we can be is in all the lanes on the freeway, bro. We drive in those lanes. We don't be just all wild and shit. People stay
that's Puerto Rico and Paris.
Oh, man, Mexico City, the circle around.
Have you been to Paris before, Glove?
Yes.
Have you drove in Paris before?
No,
I did.
I was in a car that went from Paris from Hamburg to Amsterdam, and yeah, it's terrible.
It's the dumbest thing I ever did in my life, Glove, was drive a car in Paris. I drove a stick in Paris. Never again.
Was it on the reverse side too or something?
No, it wasn't on the reverse side, but we were like 5 kilometers off from like the main square where like the Orsay and the Louvre was and all that. And it was just like, it was hellish. Like just coming out and getting out and getting on the street and driving. Yeah, it was hellish. So I get what you're saying about the order. People don't even understand how orderly we are in the United States with some of our uniformity. If you've traveled and been other places, like you see just infrastructure wise, how organized and diligent we are.
Right. And that's the point I'm trying to make about a lot of the things that we do with the other part of our indoctrination. So we can actually be trusted to do some things, man. I mean, hell, if people would love their neighbor as thyself, there will be no locks on any doors. Because when you love yourself, you're going to make sure that dude's door is locked and this dude, because they checking yours, because everybody is looking out and not trying to sleep with nobody's wife and husband, and it's all cool. We're all people. Let me tell you something. I'm going to get real close for this. Surprise, surprise, everybody that's listening. We're all one family, dude. Who do you live with? Your family. Who's around us? Our neighbors, our people. They may not look like us. We're family, man. And people keep on acting like we're enemies and shit, bro. The cops should be protecting the boys on the ground like it's their own son. Hold on. Don't hit. Hold on. Let me pick him up. Hold on. We did enough. Or whatever, bro. Where's your brother's keeper? Be your brother's keeper, bro. Fuck it. Like, don't not be. It's better to be. You need some money, man? I got $20, but I'll give you 15. Or I'll give you 5. Whatever the fuck it is, bro. Just, you know what I'm saying? We need to be better for us so that we can be better. You got to put the mask on yourself before you can take care of somebody else in the airplane. So let's go. Come on, man. We can support this indie stuff. I got guys out there, man. I tell you, man, I put my money where my mouth is. I repost people's stuff on my page. I might not have a whole big-ass following, but I'm telling my people, go check out the G-Funk, Architects of G-Funk. I just stated on this show. Go check out Uncle Mo. Go check out so-and-so. I support indie rap. Go check out, who can I think of that I can shoot out right now? Brandy Kane. Check them out, man. I don't even do work with them, but I shout them out. I got my boy Hakeem. He got him and Master C got Red Cup. Go get it, bro. They ain't $60. My expensive, bro. I'm from the Masterpiece Theater area. I feel like I'm like this, bro. If I sell 1 million records, I'll get all the money that I feel like I was shorted in the whole music industry through these companies and shiesty deals, bro. So I figure I can sell 1 million copies off my website one at a time.
No, you totally can. And I'm a lot like you, Glove. It's like people send me stuff on Twitter and on platforms, and it's like I repost and retweet it all the time because it doesn't really cost me anything to support another young man's or woman's endeavor that's trying to do something positive with their life. It's like, why wouldn't I repost it?
And then that makes it go viral, bro. You hit a crowd of people they couldn't reach, and they don't even, some people will know and thank you, and some people don't need to know. Let me tell you a quick story. A lot of people think, so there's these real good schools like Ivy League schools, right? I wrote this story about an Ivy League school or a high school that feeds into Ivy League schools, right? And everybody thought that it was the curriculum and it was the teachers and the championships and the debate. But the story I wrote was that it was a janitor, bro. It was this janitor that would look at somebody and say, man, this boy gonna do good right here. And he would think good thoughts of that kid. And those kids all went to Ivy League schools. Everybody he thought that positive of was, he just thought about him and said, man, he gonna do good. Watch, that boy smart. You know, that old dude, right? He mopping and shit, but he done seen him around the room. He knows he's smart because he's seen him when nobody's looking. Nobody sees the janitor. He's invisible. So this janitor was the reason why this school was great. And I protest. I suggest that that's true with all these things. I see a kid over here. It's a kid across the street from me that shoots baskets. I stand on the bridge and watch him shoot, and I imagine seeing the ball go through the hoop. And then I watch him, and then it started working. I would see it go through, and then he would make it. At first, he was missing them. This dude don't even know I exist or that I'm watching him. And he may go to the NBA because of the things that I'm thinking. And that's what people can do with this. And I need everybody's help. If you think positive for people, bro, you won't say nothing but positive stuff. You ain't got to watch your mouth when you watch your mind.
Well, you want to know what's crazy, Glove? I've removed a lot of people from my life, speaking of that, in the past few years because they couldn't watch their mouth or their mind. And so they're no longer around me. And but Glove, to the things that you just are saying, it's like, no, I can see the improvements in myself and in my life just from not having those ill intentions and ill-intentioned people around me. Like, my life is different right now.
Completely.
And for the better.
Oh, yeah. And then I pick up another thing where I respectfully don't care what people think because they deserve their thoughts. I don't have to change nobody's thought. You can think all kind of things about me. I could care less because I respect and love you and your thoughts. Have them. You may not agree with me, but I don't agree with you. We don't got to argue. I used to argue and debate and try to convince, but then I learned that that's people everybody got their own asshole, bro, and they all wipe their ass the way they do it. So you just got to let people be. And then when they become what they are, you see what they are. If you ask a brother, you ever heard the term, ask a nigga where he going, he going to tell you where he been? You ever heard that?
Yeah, of course.
That's exactly what happens. When you ask the guy where he's going, he going to say, well, I was over here earlier, and then we did that. He going to tell you his history. He don't know where he's going mostly. So you got to, like with the young, we got to tell them where to go. So then when you ask them where they're going, they're like, where you went? You know what I'm saying? I want to go over there. That's the kids we are, so we need more of that, especially after this reset. China killed us for 2 years. Our kids didn't go to school for COVID. So what the fuck's going to happen 20 years from now when them 2 years, them kids is in charge of everything? We're screwed, bro.
See, you're saying, you're looking at it like a 2-year gap and a 20-year gap. No, they just altered the world. I look at it from the perspective, Glove, of the child that started having to learn their fundamental teaching at home with mom instead of in the formal class and school setting. So I'm thinking about the kindergartner and the first grader just as much as I'm thinking about, well, your daughter's 17, my daughter will be 16 in a couple of weeks. Like, they about to be running shit in 10, 15 years. I don't know about you, Glove, but that shit changed my daughter and my niece, like forever.
All the way down to zero. Like you said, that 2 years from 0 to 17, whoever was school age, we got hit with a nuke, bro.
That's psychological warfare. Yeah, that's psychological warfare. That wasn't. Yeah.
So check it out. This is the thing that people don't know. Now, let me tell you, I'm gonna say a dictator. I won't say their name, but this particular dictator in history got empowered by having a group of youth that they followed him as a youth, and when they got old enough to vote, they voted him in. And so opposite thing just happened to us. They hit our kids with the boomerang, and they can't really cognizantly, they're different. Now, there's two things. Since our educational system builds employees, it can be a good thing for us because all of us are teaching our children how to
be bosses. Right.
And so now we got a bunch of it's going to be an innovative group that come out of this, a big group. But there's a bunch of people who don't understand. They get participation trophies. They don't understand competition.
They don't understand the art of war, Glove.
Get papers showing up, huh?
They don't understand the art of war, though. That's the problem.
And it's all, life is a battle of wits. And you got to know every trick in the book. But if you understand that the battle is within you, bro, everything that we do is because of what we think. If we thought different, we would be different. But let me tell you how hard it is to do that when you have the same 90 thoughts in a row when you wake up since you were born. Exactly. Like before you even process your hearts and lungs and stuff is kicking in the way they normally do. We got a diagnostic. Like when you start a computer, we do that with thoughts. Same shit. You got to change that. When you change that process, then you change what you're thinking.
No, I dig it. No, you're right. So, Glove, you have over 1,000 registered soundtrack music titles in some sort of way or form?
On my ASCAP, I have, as a songwriter, I got over 1,500 songs registered. Yeah, TV shows or whatnot, or film or whatever, some records.
Can you tell us some of maybe the notable TV or film or like soundtrack work that you've done that people might be familiar with and not even familiar that it's you? Because I found that to be a fascinating part of your catalog that I uncovered as well. I was like, oh, this dude does soundtrack work and movie work and TV show work. Like you really do it all.
Man, I'll tell you, it's funny. So I had brain surgery in 1998, right? And when I had the brain surgery, they were telling me that I couldn't work. So I asked them, well, could I listen to music? And they were like, yeah, you can listen to music. I said, well, that's what I do for a living. After I did that, I wanted to write music like in a boot camp setting, like just overwrite to see if I still could be hot. So I met a guy who I became basically his ghost composer. I did the music for a show called The Parkers, right? That was, you know, The Parkers?
Familiar.
So, Oisha, The Parkers. I did The Parkers. I did a show called All of Us, One on One.
I'm familiar with all of those. That makes sense too, because that's West Coast.
Those shows, bro. I did Cuts. All of those shows that were on UPN. So I used to tell people man, I don't hear your songs on radio. That's okay, because from 5 to 10, you're gonna hear all my music only if you're watching TV. And they'd be like, "What you mean?" And then I run off the shows. So that's when I had started feeling like, so that's when I learned, remember I told you I read this book about string theory. So I started thinking of television as a place where I could make music without any sort of opposing force from any record industry people. You know what I mean? Like when you're in the record industry and you're trying to produce somebody, they want to get somebody else. And so that somebody else may not or may want to or want not to interact. So there's pressure there. But when you're in the TV industry, they just need product. Who got it? Where is it at? They'll pay too. It ain't got to be cheap. They just need it. And so what you got to have when you're in the television business is alternates. When you got a piece of music for their thing, if you got 4 or 5 pieces to play, they will take one of your pieces because you're going to hit whatever note it is that they need. And so I was taught this by this gentleman. That's the catalog side and the library side of placing songs. So I started doing that. Not only was I composing music, but I was placing songs that I had written in other shows like NCIS and shows that I didn't compose on, like even Empire. So for the first season of Empire, I made like 10 pieces of music and I gave them to the composer so that he could have the stems and he'd use my drums and or keyboard parts or different parts and interact or interlope with whatever he was creating.
Yeah, you take your stuff and break it down, chop it up, separate it, use the part that you want, interpret it.
Back. So for the first 2 seasons. And, you know, then there was like, there was some shows that have been canceled. I did all the music for a show called, second time around was Boris Kojo and Nicole Artie Parker. And we had Macy Gray's theme song. The girl who produced that show is producing BMF right now. Like, you know what I mean? So, yeah, we were quite busy in that sector. And it's like an alternate reality. Nobody can affect you. So that's why I created all of them songs. And, you know, it's a whole nother income stream while you sleep.
I was about to say, and that's a residual income stream that you've also created from doing that kind of lives on. So, you know, you'll wake up and have a check floating in based on, you know, something from a theme music that you did 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah, man. I mean, shoot.
Well, I mean, part of why I want to share your story, too, is because, well, you know, and we can talk about this briefly. Well, you done got money a lot of ways, Glove. You got money a lot of ways. So, you know, you might be, so you're great for our hip hop and cultural and historian and creative aesthetic side, but you good for the hustler side too, fam. You know?
And that's why I said, man, I'm a lucky charm, man, for some people, bro. I come in there and I do always have some kind of input when it's something like that. I'll say something simple And it just turns out to be, like I told my friend today, he said something about favor. I said, yeah, I have favor. I like to share favor. I think everyone should have it. So if I got favor, I'm going to come in and bring my favor in the room. And so that's why I'm in those pictures in the room, and those great records happen. It, not only were they great, but they have favor. You know what I'm saying? I'm in there like God. I mean, I'm not David, but God did have a favorite. He said it was David. He said it in the Bible. I love this guy more than anybody else. Who cares what you think? I'm God. Be mad. So it's the same. Like, you know, some people do better. They got favor from the other side and they do better, whatever. But I tend to like to not cause, you know, I'm a kingmaker. That's what I like to say. I'm a kingmaker. If you see me next to a guy, he's going to be the next guy, period. And so now I'm more of a religious figure than the king. I'm the prophet behind the king to say, you should go this and do that. I'm not the leader of the church. I'm the one that says, no, I'm more of a moralistic kind of guy with that shit. Like, be noble, bro. Think good shit. When you think forward good, it'll be good. You know,
more John the Baptist and less Jesus.
I'm sorry?
I said more John the Baptist and less Jesus.
Yeah, like, well, with Jesus meaning love your neighbor and all of that. And
no, not even that. Just in terms of like, oh, we're kind of being put on a pedestal and having a mission, as opposed to, you know what I'm saying? Some people like some people are put here to give the sage wisdom and advice and preparation, in the preparation for what's to come. Correct.
John the Baptist was the precursor, and he preached about dude that was coming. You're right.
Right. The preparation for what's to come.
And then he helped him too. Like
he baptized them. He baptized them. Correct. That's why I was using that contextualization. Yeah.
Wow, that is a hell of a comparison. I love that.
Yeah, I read a little bit too. I'm like you. I'm awake and I'm aware of the things that are going on, and I take everything in. I was also, you know, father is a Muslim, mother is a Christian, so I've taken a lot in.
You have critical thinking. You got that at a young age because you had opposing forces in the house and you had to come to your own decision.
My father did not grow up in the home, but his influence, I'll tell you like this. My father said when he met me, it's like you were a fly on the wall. And you have always kind of like been this way. I've kind of always been who I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You're born that way. That's what I love. When I had my children, two things I did. The first thing I did was I looked at my daughters and I was like, wow, this is a trip. They're me. And then my daughters could learn to talk, and one of them lied to me, and I called my mom, and I was like, Mom, I'm sorry I ever lied to you, because when my daughter lied to me, I could see that shit like a red dot on her forehead.
Glove. Every time my daughter lies to me, I know, and I just look, and I'm just like, oh my God.
Think about your mom, bro. She knows. Did you ever think about that? Like,
no, I think about it every time my daughter lies to me now, I think about my mom, and it's like, oh, she knows every time I lie.
Every time, bro.
Every time. She just lets me slide the same way I'm letting this bullshit slide right now.
Welcome to adulthood. We like, damn, we was caught, and they was letting us.
Letting it roll. Didn't even know. Right.
Forward. But then we'll teach the lesson, too. So the same with the music. That's why I got the, besides the Red Shirt Freshman, an album, and you only get it DMing me on at christheglove.ai on Instagram and or my email, glove@christheglove.com. That's I have the Young Genius. I changed the name, Young Genius Performing Arts Academy, because it was the Music Academy, but I changed it to Performing Arts because what I'm teaching is kids. I want to teach them music business, the value of what they do, music theory, all the stuff. If you make music and you're in the music business, you should know music. Like, that should be a prerequisite. I'm just saying.
See, I mean, this is what I mean. Like, do you understand we're at a point that we're having this conversation, though, Glove? It's like, well, if you're going to be in the music business, you should know music. It's like, well, it kind of used to be that way.
Now you can just talk to AI and they'll make something for you. But be careful because they don't read the small print. Anything you make with AI, they own it.
Well, even with that, no, I mean, it just seems like it's so much networking. I understand, like, networking in this world gets you where it's supposed to go, but music is supposed to kind of be like athletics in the sense that it's kind of supposed to be a meritocracy in the sense that it's like, well, no, the best people are supposed to get in and show themselves. That's why we have a Prince, a Michael Jackson, a Stevie Wonder, a Bob Marley, Marvin Gaye. It's like, no. There is like a quality and talent level, like ingenious to this craft of ours. It's not just to let everybody in the motherfucking door.
Yeah. Like if you can't tell me, show me on this piano or guitar, play a middle C, eat a dick. I hate to say it like
That's
that.
That's what I mean. So I always tell people, I mean, Glove, and I never say this, like, Prince is my favorite artist ever. And I tell people, it's like, I don't give a fuck about no rapper compared to Prince. I was like, my favorite rapper can't fucking play the piano and the xylophone. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You don't give a shit about a rapper compared to Prince. Like, just being real, like on a musical level. And it's like, when I say that, people are like, well, Coop, you're such a hip hop guy. No, I love hip hop. It's the culture and the genre that I was raised in and raised under. And it saved my life in a lot of ways. But let's be real here. It's like, that motherfucker can play every instrument known to man. And you just went in the booth and just spit some bars. It's like, that's not the same thing, fam.
And not only this, but he would play every instrument on a record. Like, you would hear, like, so this rapper may be able to play all that shit, but you don't know it. He ain't got a record with every, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
I know rappers that can play the piano classically and play violins and all that, but it ain't on no record.
Glove, he used to fire session people because they couldn't play instrument as good as him. He would hire them to come in to play certain instruments so he didn't have to. Right, and then he would end up firing them because they couldn't play the instruments good as him. Because he's thinking, he's like, well, why would I pay you for something I can do better?
Yeah, that's Ike. He got that from Ike, and he got his other part from James. That boy Prince is an awesome amalgamation of the greatest minds in music, bro.
So and when you said Ike and James, what did he get from Ike that you were saying?
Ike Turner. You can't Ike. Find or fired. That's Ike. Oh. In the movie, he was hitting dudes with this. When they played a note wrong, $5. That's Ike Turner, bro. That's the perfectionist. That's Prince. James Brown, of course, he plays everything, and he's that frontman performer. He's James Brown. Prince is James Brown. And Jimi Hendrix together. Like, that dude, how do you come up in the time of that and become what he became?
Right.
That shit is unbelievable. He's probably one of mine. But, I like Tina Marie because she's Prince and people don't know it. And, she played all them parts and she was doing the same thing. And it was like, she played the bassist for Rick James.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Tina Marie is bad, bro. She's like Princess.
No, my mom loves some Tina Marie.
Tina Marie. They don't have no other writers.
Wow. Portuguese in Love used to be like my mom's shit.
Tina Marie. Portuguese. And she plays the parts of a lot of those things, bro.
That's why I was just about to ask you, Glove, and what you're telling me is true, because the bass is getting played on Portuguese in Love. So she playing her own bass.
Yeah. That's just the arrangements. Like, you see those, everyone works with people, but when it's something like that and you say Tina Marie, that's a statement. Like my record, Coinga Big Boulevard, Chris Taylor, Chris the Glove. That's it. No other writer. Even though I use a sample, it's all me. Lyrics, everything. Fuck it. And then the sample is them. You know what I mean? I wrote the song. So, but that's what I like about that. I mean, it's just like a painter. You got a guy like Beetle that sticks paper and does dots, and you got Michelangelo who did that thing or whatever. Like, bro, that's like
what I told people. It's like, well, I've been in the Sistine Chapel, Glove. It's like, when you look up, it's like, no, I can see Raphael's hand, and then I see Michelangelo's hand. It's like, I love Raphael. He's a genius. He's not Michelangelo.
Not at all.
Got a better hand. He got a better hand, and he uses colors better. And it's like, oh, no. I seen that shit live. I was like, no. I was like, you can see where the shit changes, and it's like, oh, no, this dude's somewhere else.
Then you can see the students who did the outline and the coloring. It's like 2000.
That's what I mean. You can even see how like the color scheme and ideas that he were using was different. It's like, no. His red's different than Raphael's red.
Exactly. See? That's like John the Baptist. He had followers too. This is their symbol right here. There's the whole cult of John the Baptist. You see every picture you see John the Baptist in, you're going to see a finger.
Yep.
That's their cultic symbol. He had his own followers. And a lot of people, so I studied religions too, because I find it fascinating. I feel like Spock with that shit. Like, once you learn what God is, then you kind of accept everything that people say about it. Like you got over here Hindu, like you say Muslim. You was in a Muslim Christian family. You look fine to me. You know what I mean? You didn't come out. You know what I mean? That's supposed to be a war. And the brothers was in the womb together fighting. The Jews and the Arabs. They're brothers or
right.
something. It's like So you know that's all. We're one family. We need to cut that shit out and look out for everybody, and everybody would come up. Everybody could be paid. What if everybody was rich? Then it would be nobody poor, nobody on the street, nothing. Everybody could be rich, but we all want to be better than the next one. It's bullshit. Me included, I guess. I'm working on that part of me. But I want to be a better man. It's hard for me to work with people that do music. I always try to give them pointers and say you should go and trust yourself because I'm critical of myself, so I don't want to be critical of other people because I'm hard on myself. You ask me, I may be really hard on you, so don't ask me.
Well, I think the results have proven that you being hard on yourself has led to some wonderful things, and we are all the better as hip-hop lovers and lovers of the culture from having your contributions. Do you have any parting words for us? And also, too, Glove, right quick, like I tried to call you, and you need to lock my number in because I want to come and get up with you when I get an A.
This must have been Coop, so now I got to
that 404 number is me. Lock me in because when you get to the A, hit me up because I want to politic with you when the camera's not on.
Oh, yeah, we're going to hang out, man. It's going to be a good thing. I'm going to be there for like 5 weeks, bro. Trust me.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. We got time, like, for sure.
Hey.
I want to set up a couple of things and I don't care if they're small. I just want to do them because I just should get a buzz like that. You know what I'm saying? People just need to hear what I'm doing. I don't care. Like, I do my Instagram show every day. I don't care. I got one person. I got 50 people. It don't matter.
Well, you know, Glove, you're a cigar lover. I'm tied to some people in the industry. I have a sister who owns a smoke shop down on the east side with her husband. I know some of the owners and some of the movers and shakers in a couple of these cigar clubs, so we can have some conversation about some things. A lot of people who know me down here, Glove, I've been in the hospitality business for 2 decades. Everybody knows me. Yeah.
So
I used to run the biggest sports bar in Atlanta and the biggest event space in Atlanta. So, like, I've done other shit. Yeah.
Yes, sir. I'm ready, boy. I see what God does. See what I mean? He brings me exactly.
No. When you were talking about that panel stuff, I was like, oh, Glove. Yeah, because I'm already working on some things for me and Mike to try to do anyway and plug into that. So that's kind of like already on the agenda for this year anyway. So when you were saying the panel stuff, I'm like, well, that's perfect because me and Mike have been having the conversations about going outside and doing some stuff anyway. And I've been trying to reach out to some people about it. So let's put it together.
And we should do that and be the leaders of that because everybody else is trying to do the opposite and be inside.
Yeah, no. I'm not with that. Like that ain't hip hop. That ain't how y'all started.
Nope, that sure ain't.
I'm about to say, to be honest with you, Glove, like all these conversations, you've been outside this whole time. It appears the only time that you were inside was about health reasons.
The only time I was inside, I was in the studio trying to put what I heard outside in there.
Right.
That's why I'm the guy that has the party in there. And I'm the guy because I'm the DJ, bro, from that, dude. It's like that. But in party, I want to say thank you so much for having me on this whole series, bro. We're going to link up out there in real life. You can find me, chrisglove.ai on Instagram. That's where I'm at mostly. I do live DJing on TikTok. Get really big numbers there, but one thing is Instagram for some reason. I just got a soft spot for that. So, and also this Red Shirt Freshman, you got to buy that. I got it up on my page. I got the link in the bio. Check out your boy. I'm also on Facebook, DJ Chris the Glove. So I want to say thank you to all my family and my daughters, especially Ciara and Trinity Taylor, and my girl Mel, and then my homie C Major and Kingmaker on the beat. He produced that album with me, the Red Shirt Freshman. Shout out to all my folks, man. Thank you. Love you, Mom.
I'm going to be picking your project up, Glove. I can't wait to link up with you in person. And thank you so much for getting our year started off with some great commentary and historical inside perspective from you as hip hop turns 50 this year. We're forever in your debt. And thank you for all your contributions to hip hop and just the genre and the culture, like, period.
Yes, sir. Thank you for this great series.
Both of them. Everyone listening, you all welcome. I see you up in there now, Mike. So yeah, you guys are definitely welcome, man. It's been a blast doing this, bro. So the key to your life, I'm gonna leave y'all with this: find something you love doing, and you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
But that's a great one to go out on.
Later, guys.
Later, Glove.